Hey everybody, welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode number 235. And as always, we are brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and any purchases you make in the near future, that'll all go to helping us out. We get a little revenue from that purchase. Doesn't cost you anything and helps us out a bit. Man, I'm just butchering this intro. Bob's just going to laugh at me. But I've referenced Bob. What's going on, Bob?
I can't say it's your worst.
It's
not your best.
Probably my worst. No, it's not my best, but it's probably my worst.
Yeah, I think you've done a little bit worse previously, but it was. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 for your intro there. So
right. I know why.
But yeah, this is our weekly tech podcast. Excited to talk tech, even though I basically woke up from a nap, so I have my monster here and I'm ready to go here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about reviews this week. And it feels like it's been a while since I took a look at a motherboard, like right after her Z490 B550 launches. And then after that, sometimes we get some boards trickling in. And one that we did, and I was actually really impressed with, was the ASRock Z490 Extreme 4. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the Extreme line from ASRock. It's kind of like it's not their entry level because like the Steel Legends below that. I think they have a Pro Series board or something like that below that as well. But it's not like their Phantom Gaming or their Tai Chi, so it kind of sits below. But these boards they pretty much have everything that you want, lower cost, maybe some of the major features taken out. But I do have to say, they have this new design on these boards, which kind of adds a little blue to the PCB. And I was actually surprised when I took it out of the box because they said they were setting it, and I was just like, yeah, sure. And I didn't even look at the board, but like you kind of see the blue in the PCB.
Yeah.
And this is their new cut, as I'm going to call it, because the board is cut. You have kind of
corners are all like that, huh?
Yeah, so you have all the corners kind of cut. The top one is more dramatic, and then you have the indent here, which I guess first started with EVGA, and now we're seeing some other manufacturers do it. I can't say I'm a fan of it. It kind of makes sense on certain cases because once you connect your SATA cable, it might not route perfectly into that cable routing hole. But as far as like board layout, it's just you're taking away space, and I'm not a fan of that. But overall, I do think this is one of the better looking boards from ASRock in their Z490 line. I'll go really quickly to the RGB lighting because that's why I think it's one of the better looking boards. You get RGB lighting all along that front section, and I think that a lot of companies kind of tone back their RGB lighting a lot. And I think that ASRock has just put just enough in this that it actually looks really good. And with their design, with their silver heat sinks and all that, I just think it looks really good out of all of their boards that they put out on the Z490 line. So as far as looks, like this board is awesome. You can see like the Extreme logo there.
Is that blue reflective? Is it kind of have like a metallic finish to it, or is it just really kind of bright blue?
It's really
I say bright. Blue. It's kind of like navy-ish almost, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't know the kind of blue you would call it, but it is it's blue. So it's a little different, but like I said, overall this board has everything that you would want in the Z490 chipset. You get USB 3.2 Gen 2. You're going to get 2 M.2 slots. There's actually 3 on the board. Let me try to get to a picture that will show it. So you have one up here, one here, and then this third one is a Gen 4 that will support future processors. Because we know with 10th generation Intel processors, you're not going to get Gen 4, but 11th gen we should. So this is kind of future-proofing that board with that Gen 4 spot if you want it. This board does not have Wi-Fi, although you can add it in with a M.2 Wi-Fi. You can see there's a dedicated slot for that. A little weird things about the board. I talked about that indent as we saw, and the interesting thing about that indent, you can see we have 4 SATA 6 gig ports here. Because this indent, we have to put 2 down here, which nowadays isn't that big of a deal. I don't know how many people are really fully populating all 6 ports. I know I'm not, especially with M.2s and things like that. But it's just like, if they just made this straight, they could have fit all 6 up here, which is a little weird.
All along that right side of the board, are we missing the holes for connecting to your mother or to your case?
That is a thing too. So
I don't like that.
Yeah, you're not missing it completely. Some of them are there. Let me try to get
I mean, there's the middle ones, obviously, that kind of go up the middle of the board, but
Yeah.
you don't have one in the top right corner. You don't have one in the, or am I just not seeing it?
You don't have one in the top right corner.
Yeah.
You do have this middle one here and this middle one. But yeah, it is a little concerning. It's a little different, like I said. Obviously, we tested this in a test bench, so it's sitting flat. But yeah, I mean, if you're sitting vertical in a normal case, you might have that issue. You know what I mean? So yeah, but all in all, it has kind of everything that you would want. You know what I mean? In a Z490 integrated I/O cover and I/O shield, USB 3.2 Gen 2. There's only 4 USB 3.2 ports on the back, and then these are 2.0 ports. So there's not a ton of USB ports there. You do get 2.5 gig LAN, and I think most people would appreciate the 2.5 gig LAN over Wi-Fi 6, just for the fact that most of us are plugging in. So again, it has everything. Like, it's just that kind of mainland. The thing that you are really missing is Wi-Fi compared to other boards. But this board is not all that expensive. It's $184.99 right now. And it's you don't get a ton of USB ports, and you're missing Wi-Fi. So if you don't need those things, right? This is a very solid board. The power delivery, which I believe is, let me find it. I think it's pretty beefy for the power delivery. We were able to overclock pretty well on it. So they're doing a 11-phase power design on this. 60 amp chokes as well on that. So you have no problem with power delivery on this, no problem with overclocking. You do get the extra 4-pin for power to the CPU as well. So yeah, I mean, you have pretty much, like I said, everything that you would want, barring the higher end features like 5 gig LAN, like higher end Wi-Fi, like more USB 3.2. Yeah.
The piece that kind of bugs me about this, but
yeah, so those are the things you kind of miss out on. But I think for $184, it's a really solid board. And like I said, with the RGB all lit up inside of a case, it's one of the better looking ASRock boards, I think. So check out my review. Like I said, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because it does pretty much what it's supposed to do, and it's pretty low cost there on the Z490 line as well. So yeah, definitely check that one out. Everybody is coming into the live stream. So we have Old Man in the live stream as well as M30 Media. So we're all here hanging out on Wednesday. And our next review I actually have in front of me. It is this guy right here. I always forget. I'm going like here, like my camera, because I moved my angle over here. So yeah, it's kind of hard to focus. And you can see all the fingerprints.
Got some fingerprinting going on there.
Yeah, so this is a fingerprint magnet. That's one of my cons of this. But this is the HP T700 portable solid state drive. If you guys have been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that I love these little drives. They're perfect for video editing drives on the go. They're perfect for traveling with. They're pretty much perfect for anything because they're super fast. Now that we have USB 3.2 Gen 2, we're able to get around 1,000 megabytes a second read and write, which is incredibly fast for a portable drive. I remember USB 2.0 speeds kind of maxing out at 30 megabytes a second, and now we're at 1,000. So these are awesome. So the HP one, we've reviewed a couple HP products that are like these high-end enthusiast grade products. And what they did is they partnered with Bywin, which is a Chinese OEM supplier. So this isn't technically made by HP, but it's branded for them. And I think it's a great idea because they partner with somebody who kind of knows what they're doing. I think Bywin's been doing it for 25 years, so they know what they're doing. And it's a really good drive. I think all of these drives are pretty much the same, right? You're going to get the same speeds on all the drives. It just comes down to features, size, and if software or encryption is your thing, that's kind of the difference that you'll see there. With this drive, the unique thing about it is you can see in this picture, you can see two things here, and the reason you see that, we'll go back to this view.
I thought it was a really, really thick drive at first.
Yeah, so you see it here like this, and the reason for that is magnetic, and it holds your USB cable as well as the Type C adapter there. So it is cool, but like I don't want to carry this whole thing with me. This is the normal size of the drive, which is about the size of a 2.5-inch SSD, slightly smaller. But the thickness is actually around that size. So that's the cool thing about this drive. Besides that, it is your typical USB 3.2 Gen 2 drive. There's not a whole lot different about it, really. One connection, which is Type C. They give you a Type C to Type A cable and then a Type C adapter. And the one thing I want to show you about this Type C cable is, let's go back to the other view real quick so you guys can see it. It is like,
oh, that is tiny. What, 4 inches?
Maybe 3 inches.
Yeah.
It is one of the smallest ones that I've seen. So if you were installing this on a desktop like I have over here, it would hang. So I'm not a fan of the cable length. It's just not. I'm not a fan of it. I guess
since it's portable, they figure you're just going to have it plugged into a laptop and sitting next to it, I guess.
So we see that with a lot of these is that they do have smaller cables or shorter cables, but this is the shortest I've ever seen. So that's a little bit of a downside. As far as performance goes, it goes right up to our expectations. 1,000 megabytes read and write. If you compare it to our other drives, it's actually our fastest write speeds by a decent margin.
That's a pretty big chunk.
Yeah, by a decent margin over other USB 3.2 Gen 2 drives. You can see the Gen 1 drives below that on the, but it lives up to expectations on our tests, no problems. It's just a nice little drive. Now, the problem with it, which I think we saw it with the other HP, their EX950.
With their drive and with their memory too, right?
Yeah, the pricing is just a little off. So this drive sells for about $170 right now, the 1 terabyte version, which we reviewed. The ADATA SE800 1 terabyte, which is USB 3.2 Gen 2, is $139.99. Now, this is faster by a little bit. Maybe the writes are about 100 to 150 megabytes a second faster. But the ADATA drive is IP68 rated and is technically smaller. And then you have the Sabrent Rocket Nano, which also is smaller. It's only $158.99 compared to, again, $170 for this. This has shorter cables.
So $20 to $30 more than we'd like to see, right?
And this is coming from HP. So this is a company they're not really a name in the high performance realm. They're not.
Right.
When you think of HP. So if they want to get their name out there, they should price this aggressively. I feel they're a big enough company where they can do that.
Yeah. And
so I only gave it an 8 out of 10 just because of those reasons, mainly pricing. And the short cables is kind of a bummer to me. But those were our 2 reviews for this week. 2 pretty cool products. So definitely check those reviews out. And that brings us to Case Mod Friday. And the case that this build is in is one that we kind of were like oohing and awing over at CES this past January. It is the 909EK, and this build is from our buddy Stuart at GGF. This is a massive build.
The one they had at their suite was very nice, and I knew it'd just be a little bit of time before we saw one from GGF. So this looks awesome.
Yeah, so basically this is a case that was designed by Inwin with EK. So the whole let me find a picture of the back if I can find it. the entire back or the motherboard tray is a reservoir and distro plate, which makes it pretty awesome. Obviously designed for custom water cooling, so you can see Stuart did a really great job. You know, his style, everybody knows his style, but you can see how everything goes together. One thing that I love to see, which I don't think not enough builders do, is the what do you call that on the tubing? The
Oh, the frosted.
yeah, the frosted tubing is
Yeah, or like
one of my favorite things on there. But yeah, I mean, the case pretty much does it. Like, I mean, yeah, he put the custom loops and stuff in there, but as far as like, there's not much modification to the case itself, which I think just speaks to the case.
It's got the
right?
light panel up top that looks nice. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
you know
you can see
it's
that.
kind of glowing up top. I don't think those cuts in the front are typically there. That little
These?
pattern where it's towards the front of the case.
Oh yeah, they
I
might
don't
have
think
been
that's
there.
you really remember.
Yeah, I think they were there. I
Okay.
could be wrong. But yeah, it's just like, and he has the X299 Type C board in there, which is a sick board. Dual graphics cards. Awesome cabling on that one as well. Just an awesome build. And he always does videos as well. So if you guys want to check that out, we have that in the article, so you guys can check that out. But overall, just a really good build. Here's it without any lights, and it still looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I like the color choice. I do like the color choice that he went with the purple. It looks good to me. So
Yep,
so yeah,
I'm a fan.
go ahead and check that one out. And as a reminder, guys, we are giving away. We talked about it last week, but we have confirmation that we're giving away two, not just one, but two Patriot Viper VPN 100 512 gigabyte NVMe SSDs. So we will pick two winners to this. So super easy to enter. We do it through Gleam like we do all of our contests. So you guys can easily get your entry in. And yeah, it's just another way to get back to you guys. And we are working on this is going on for another 23 days, but we're already working on the next contest as well. So, and we are getting close to holidays. It's crazy to think about. But I am planning in my head big giveaways for holiday because it's Christmas time. And so we'll have something good for you guys around that time as well. So stay tuned for all of that. And that brings us to news, and it's all NVIDIA.
I was just say, I was looking over the show notes ahead of this. I was like, NVIDIA. All right, here we go.
we are getting close to a graphics card launch. And I'm pretty excited, right?
I'm excited. I just, some of the pricing is a little scary to me, but yeah, we'll talk about it, right?
Yeah. So one, was I really excited for the 20 series? I don't remember, honestly.
That's like, I mean, that's been a while ago.
It's
I don't
2 years ago, I think. Yeah. But I am very excited for this. So our first story, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 was spotted on user benchmark, and it gives us our memory speeds, 19 gigabits per second. So the user benchmark doesn't obviously give you it's just an overall benchmark. You know what I mean? You do get a graphics card bench, but it's not like these isn't going to. Yeah, it's not going to give. It's not going to give you performance. But the whole idea is we have our memory speeds, which basically make us pretty sure that this is GDDR6. So yeah, so the card showed GPU frequency up to 2.1 gigahertz, 10 gigabytes of GDDR6 video memory, 320-bit bus, kind of what we kind of expected from the 3080. So yeah, that is that. Like I said, it's good to see like these leaks, and we're like getting confirmation of the things we like thought we knew, but we weren't sure.
I know it's like a couple weeks, a week or two later, it's like, oh yeah, that's confirmed, or it's nice when those add up.
Yeah. So that is the first one, and the second one also has to do with memory. Again, we have seen, especially with the 20 Super, is NVIDIA using not the same memory throughout the line, a way to separate their products and put different prices on things that might have the same other parts. So Micron confirms that the RTX 3090 will come with 12 gigabytes of GDDR6X running at over 1 terabyte a second. This slide came out or was leaked that shows this, and it shows 12 gigabytes and the speed and all of that. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for that. 1 terabyte a second of memory speed.
It's insane.
Yeah. So so it could be, again, we saw the 3080 with 10 gigabytes, 3090 with 12 gigabytes. Both should be DDR6. Yeah, that's
That memory bandwidth is crazy, because I was just looking at the specs for my 2070 Super, and it's 448 gigabytes a second. Like, more, this thing has more than double a pretty nice video card.
This happens all the time, though, and the funny thing about it is that then we get these games like Cyberpunk or whatever that will just crush that anyways.
Chew it up. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll move on from there, and the big one that I was just like, wow, this is pretty wild if it's true. We got our first semi leak on pricing. So this weird email screenshot.
Just because it's in Chinese doesn't mean it's weird.
Well, I'm not. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. It came from Chip Hell, which is a Chinese website, and it lists the pricing for Power Color's Vulkan XOC card and their Neptune card, which is a hybrid card. It's like an AIO card, supposed. And if the pricing is in Chinese, but if you convert it, this is 3090 would be the Vulkan XOC would be 1875, or the Vulkan X. The initial price listed on this email is 2,000, and then the Neptune is 1875, and then there's another price of around 1730 for a Vulkan XOC, which kind of makes more sense. But in any case, even if it's $1,700 for a 3090, which would probably, I'm guessing at launch, would be the flagship. How do you feel about that? That's like double.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, I know we've been talking about these, 30, maybe 40% increases. Like, that's not enough.
But like, what makes this worth that much money? I mean, we went from this, like, just think about it. We went from being able to get the highest end graphics card for what, 700, right? And then it was what, 1200 for the 2080 Ti, right? And now this isn't even the 3090, which I guess would be
maybe is taking over the Ti, or who knows.
Old man said Nvidia should start a financing plan. That would be even way to even make more money, because
you'd have so many more people getting cards that way.
Yeah.
I don't recommend going into debt to buy a video card.
Yeah. That's just a lot. I think even 1,200 was a lot for the 2080 Ti.
Yeah.
And again, they had trouble selling those at that price. That's why the prices went down when the Supers came out, and they had to. I mean, their stock price was bad because nobody was convinced on RTX yet. At that price, if I'm paying 1,700 or even 1,500 for the top end card, I mean, it has to be better. I mean, how much can you get? If you look real quick, how much can you get a 2080 Ti for right now?
Well, I looked just the other day. It was like 1,700 to 2,000, depending on what you get.
Oh, because of
because
of what's going on right now. Yeah. I mean, but they launched at like 1,200.
Yeah, right? I mean, Nvidia shows $1,200 on their site.
Yeah,
but you go to Newegg and they're priced 1,500, 1,900, 2,000. So when you can get them and find them.
But say it's 1,200.
Okay.
Say you can get it for 1,200.
Okay.
What percentage of performance increase validates another $500?
I would need like at least 50.
Yeah.
If not more.
And again,
I'm not gonna say double because that's not like
yeah.
that doesn't make sense, but it's got to be a lot. I mean,
Well,
that
now,
price jump would just be it's just too much. It's too much.
yes, I agree. Now, take this all with a grain of salt because this
Sure.
is something that some random person posted. We don't know. I would like it to be remain the same. I think with COVID and everything that everybody's been dealing with this year, it would be nice for Nvidia to be like, yes, it's the same price as the previous gen. Previous gen's dropping down to this much, you know. But I guess we'll see
See
how that
shortly,
goes.
hopefully.
Well, there was this weird leak, another one, again, take it with a grain of salt, and the person did a horrible Photoshop job on this one as far as like replacing the GPU. But these supposed pictures of a 3090 PCB were leaked out. And it's interesting because it looks, I mean, you can see it's all blocked out here, but it looks like a normal card. Remember we saw that V thing before?
Right. The cutout for the fan at the back. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. They put a they photoshopped an Intel chip right here, as you can see, because that's not what a GPU looks like.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Basically the more details were of the memory, more than anything that you can see on here. It's Micron, obviously.
Yep.
So yeah, and this is what the supposed card looked like. I don't know what, I've never seen this, whatever
I
that
mean, it
is.
reminds me of like the wraps they put on new cars when they're trying to like
Yeah,
skew what the body lines look like.
but
I
if
don't know
you,
that we've really seen that before in
yeah,
the
this
GPU
is
world.
suppose it says Zotac, so this is a supposed Zotac card. Uh, yeah, so I don't know. But if you, I think it was on this card or another one that I saw that did have triple 8 pins. So are we going back to that heavy, high power card? You know, with this series, that's something we don't know about either, as far as power goes. So yeah, again, with all these leaks, guys, biggest thing, take it with a grain of salt, right? Because you know we don't know if these are real pictures, and obviously with a lot of stuff blurred out, we
With
really
all
don't
these
know.
grains of salt, my sodium's gonna be way up, man.
I know, dude.
It's like
I
all the
know.
news is like, rumor has it, grain
Yeah,
of
I mean,
salt. Yeah. But
because we don't know, we don't know. But if you don't want to buy a high-end graphics card, or you don't have a high-end PC, but you want to play games, one of the solutions is one of these game streaming services. They're getting huge now, right? Nvidia has their own, and they now announced this week, I think it was today. Yeah, they announced today that you'll be able to run GeForce Now on Chromebooks. So this is pretty cool because I
I like
think
this.
a lot of kids these days for school are buying Chromebooks because they're incredibly affordable. And the fact that there was rumors a while back about Steam coming to Chromebooks, that has not happened. You really you got to play what's available on the game store. With GeForce Now, you're not one. Even if you did get Steam on a Chromebook, you're limited to kind of the hardware in the Chromebook.
Yeah,
With
and those aren't gonna
GeForce
run a lot.
Now, it's streaming the game too. So all you need technically is a fast internet connection to play any of these games. Like we have the picture of Destiny 2 here. But any games that you really wanted to through the service, which is pretty awesome. It gives Chromebook users the ability to play AAA titles on a Chromebook. That's awesome. It is beta, I have to say. The Chrome OS launch is beta. But yeah.
That's cool.
And
I mean,
the you can play for free with the service for 1 hour per day, I believe. So if you're not going to exceed that, it's free. I think it's $5 a month for unlimited time or something like that.
$5 a month, that's a pretty good deal.
Especially if you have a Chromebook.
Yeah,
like
you don't have to invest in like a $2,000 gaming PC to run these games pretty nicely. $5 a month plus, $700 Chromebook.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's awesome.
Paul said that there's a company that leases graphics cards, cutting edge gamer. We have seen services like that, and I think that again, what Old Man said about Nvidia starting financing. I mean, financing is just like the way for a company to make more money, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to pay more for the card than what you would have normally. So yeah, I mean, that is something that Nvidia could possibly do in the future. We
So
shall see.
I can lease my video card, a 2070 Super XC Ultra for $64.99.
There you go.
Is that per month? I'm
I don't
guessing.
know.
Oof,
That's not bad. I would say that's not horrible.
man,
You know.
I
In any
guess.
case, talking about Nvidia, we talked about everybody wanting to buy ARM. Latest reports say that Nvidia is the front runner, and they're gonna try to close on the acquisition by the end of the summer, which is pretty. Again, that's a big purchase for Nvidia. I think that is really awesome for them as far as their portfolio or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they said it could go to $52.63 billion. That's pretty.
Of money.
That's not a lot.
It's just a couple more zeros than I've got.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So we'll see how that all kind of shapes up, and that'd be interesting because that would make technically Nvidia the sole provider of the chip, or at least the IP for the chip that's going to go in every Apple computer.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean, have they even ever offered? They don't. Some of the Macs have offered NVIDIA cards before, right?
no, I don't think.
Not in any of them.
It's
I know
always
they've had
been the
ATI or
the trash can was all AMD
mhm.
graphics cards. I don't think they've ever
Okay.
offered. And there was all these rumors about Nvidia drivers in like the code, but there was nothing. There was no. You couldn't get Nvidia graphics in any form on an Apple product. I mean, I'm pretty sure going back a while. So yeah. Going to Intel. Apparently, they did release the Avengers edition processors. These are real. It is like I said when we talked about it, it's a very weird thing. Um, I can't. The Avengers aren't like insanely popular.
Right. I mean, same points as last week, right? There's no Avengers movie coming out. There is a game, right? That's coming out, but you don't get a copy of it.
Yeah, so that's the next story.
So
Is the
that's weird.
So you get this cool collector's edition box. They said some might come with a plushie, which we'll show you in a second. But now we have another extension on the processors. We have like the normal 10900, then you have a 10900K, then you have a 10900KF. Now you have a 10900KA.
Yeah.
Which stands for Avengers Edition. It's just a very weird thing. And you can see that somebody already got one, and that it does not come with the game, which is like that's the whole reason, is to semi promote the game.
Right.
That's coming out. So you might get this cool plushie thing, maybe.
Okay.
We don't know. But again, it says game not included. So why did Intel do this?
It doesn't make any sense at all.
It makes absolutely no sense. I know that Intel kind of needed like some marketing help with their processors.
Yeah, somebody's friends with somebody at Disney, and they, like, hey, it'd be great if you guys did an Avengers themed processor.
This is one of the coolest boxes I've ever seen for an Intel product, though, right?
I guess
that's pretty cool, but at the same time,
I just don't like it.
It doesn't make sense for Intel. Like, what is Intel getting out of that? Again, it's not like it's like I could see Star Wars, like something that's like huge, right?
Right. We
Like,
saw like the Star Wars NVIDIA cards, right?
Yeah.
which that was cool. I don't know that it was timed to any of the movies, was it? But they were still coming out. When that came out, there were still a couple films left, I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't feel that Avengers isn't X-Men Marvel.
Yeah.
Like I feel X-Men's a bigger franchise than Avengers.
Right now,
could be-
I don't know that that's true. Like in the 90s and early 2000s,
Yeah, I'm
probably.
old, so
I know,
you know.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
It's just a weird thing, and we've never. I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never seen Intel do any branded CPU before, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And if they were gonna do a crossover or a tie-in with anything, the last thing I would expect is Avengers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, or comics in general.
Yeah. Paul said that people will be selling boxes on eBay for stupid money. Probably. I mean, I'd like one just to put in the case back here with all my other stuff. But yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say about that. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
But moving over to AMD, the A520 chipset launched this week. This is even, you have X570, B550, and now A520, which will only support third gen Ryzen processors. The other big thing is that there's no Gen 4 on this whatsoever. So you're not getting Gen 4 M.2. You're also not getting Gen 4 PCI Express. And this will kind of enable very not low. I can't say it's super low end, but yeah, this would just enable lower cost motherboards.
Yeah, you can't say low end when Intel doesn't have those things either, right?
Yeah, so it's like 75, 50, 50, 75, $100 boards that you'll see with this. You're going to still get USB 3.2 Gen 2. You are going, the general purpose lanes are Gen 3. They weren't they were Gen 2 in the previous generation. You're only going to get 6 here on this. But yeah, it's just more affordable boards, more like business stuff.
Yeah.
Not
I looked
really
a little bit.
intuitive.
Do you know if they are going to have any of the faster Ethernet connections? Because
I do not.
We've seen the 2.5 and the 5
All
on some of the X570 and Intel boards, but I didn't know if these were going to have any of those faster connections or not.
well, I
That's
think
kind of what I'm interested in.
the whole idea with A520 is cost, I feel.
Yep.
So that would obviously add to the cost of the board.
Sure.
Maybe if there was a board where you needed fast Ethernet, but then you didn't need anything else high end, possibly. All the companies launch their boards. So if you go to like Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, they all have A520 boards available now. So you can kind of go through and see that. This makes sense. And I do kind of like the release that AMD did. You had X570. Maybe the length between X570 and B550 was quite long. But you had the super high end, and that's all you could get. If you wanted Ryzen 3000 series, you had to get X570. Yep. And then finally we got B550, and that gave us more affordable boards. You didn't need all 3 Gen 4 PCI Express M.2s. You only got one, and you're only running one graphics card on these at Gen 4 as well. So you had that, and now we have A520, which is even more affordable. So you have that full lineup. And these we don't know, but the A520 should support the Ryzen 4000 series APUs as well. So yeah, that is A520. It's not super exciting to us because it's not super high end, but it is very affordable. So
I'd be excited for like I said, if it had that faster network connectivity, 1 or 2 of them to use as a low powered server.
Yeah. Box. And especially with like those very affordable Ryzen 3, whatever they
like
are,
the 3300X or
any of that stuff.
That's what I want to pair it with.
Yep. And our last story, which we kind of zoomed through this news here today, is that Razer is bringing back their left-handed Naga. If you're not familiar with the Naga, that is their MMO gaming mouse, something that Ryan would probably be interested in. But this is the left-handed version. So this is the one where all of the 12 buttons are on the right side of the mouse, as opposed to normally on the left where your thumb would be. But it's cool. I guess maybe there's demand for this mouse.
There might be, yeah.
Um,
Left-handed MMO players. I'm left-handed and I use a regular mouse, so.
Yeah, I'm left-handed as well, and I use a regular mouse. I think that's just kind of how you learn. Like that's
I do a lot of right-handed stuff. I really just throw and write left-handed. So
yeah, I throw and write. I shoot hockey. Oh, I guess this would be my I shoot hockey normally. So yeah, that's cool. If you're left-handed, you now have, if you play MMOs, and
got some options.
Yeah, there's not been that many left-handed mice out there, really.
No, they're either ambidextrous, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
few and far between on left-handed. So
yeah, Old Man said he's seen YouTubers use those cheaper boards and chipsets for emulation systems. Yeah, I mean, any of that, like A520 is great because you are still getting a Ryzen 3000 series processor that you're going to put in there.
Yeah.
And it's
lots of cores and threads, right?
Lots of stuff.
Don't need the overclocking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get a board for $75 and then the processor for $75, I mean, it's $150. You know,
memory's cheap right now.
Yeah, everything. So, and these boards still will have M.2. They're just Gen 3, not Gen 4. So you can still get fast storage too, 3,500 megabytes a second. Like you're still
plenty fast.
Yeah. So yeah, that is it for news. We kind of, like I said, zoomed through that. Talking about Razer, I will be reviewing a Razer product. I'll be taking a look at, which I guess is still their flagship gaming keyboard. It is the Huntsman Elite. This is a very cool keyboard. It's sitting in front of me. I've been using it for pretty much since last week. I've had it in front of me. Full-size gaming keyboard. The interesting thing about this, one of the interesting things is that it uses optical switches, not mechanical. So I have their clicky version, so it's very clicky, which I do like. And then it has the removable wrist rest, which
is it magnetic?
Yeah, it's magnetic. Let me go back to this view so you guys can see. But you can see the magnets are on there, and what that does is that there's an RGB ring around it. So when you just connect it back, the lights come right back.
I think
on.
that was like that. I think I looked at a Patriot that was like that. Patriot Viper did the same kind of thing, magnetic, and had the little pressure pins.
Yeah. So it just comes back on, and now my lights are back on, and it's all RGB. Full size gaming keyboard. Has a lot of other cool stuff. I love how you don't have to do a single thing with the Razer software. Like I was playing Apex the other day, and it just like it just switched over, and now it's lighting up based on what I'm doing in the game. So we'll have that for you, and then we'll have another. I wish it's over there. Taking a look at a Lexar. This is their NM700. This is a PCI Express 3.0 NVMe SSD, 35 megabytes a second read and 2,000 megabytes a second write. The write is a little slow based on what PCI Express 3.0 can do. But again, not a lot of people are doing a whole lot of writes, and it should be priced pretty affordably. So again, most of us are doing reads, like if you think about it. So that's something you might want to consider. And we have the 1 terabyte version, so we'll have that.
Is it named professional because of extra endurance? Do you know?
I think that Lexar
or warranty, or maybe just Lexar in general is.
I think Lexar with their this is an enthusiast product, right? And I think that's what they're calling their professional line is stuff that's more like geared towards not necessarily professionals, but like enthusiast gamers. You know what I mean? That's kind of what they have there. So we'll have that for you as well. And yeah, that brings us to the end where we talk about if we've done anything over the past week, or watched anything, or anything like that.
I don't think I've watched anything. No.
Nothing.
Been using my 3D printer a little bit every now and then.
What have you? Oh yeah, you're printing those cases.
Printed some cases. I printed a keychain today. Yeah, nothing really.
I'm
like
trying to find this show. Oh, here it's called. I gotta find it. I just started watching this show before we got on Netflix. It's called High Score. It is kind of, well, I only watched one episode. I don't know how many there are in this. It's on Netflix. I assume
cool.
that it goes through the entire history of video games. Like the first episode was all about Atari and all that kind of stuff. And so it's really cool. It has all the big names that you would expect.
I was gonna say I saw John Carmack down there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of there's six episodes in this one. So, and it just came out, so it's not like something that's older. So I watched the first episode. If you're into video games, I would suggest watching that because I think it's a good show, at least so far. So besides that, I finally, it's funny. This is a camera thing, but I finally upgraded my firmware on my DJI Osmo Action. And it has a lot of new cool things. Like it can do hyperlapse. It can do a lot of other things. And it doesn't have the lag. I don't know if anybody is into action cameras, the lag on the front screen when I'm like, the lag on the screen would be bad. Like if you started recording at 4K, it would be about like 4 seconds behind. So if you're actually recording somebody, and you moved it, you wouldn't know what you're shooting per se. So I did that recently. Been testing.
I wish my drone had the hyperlapse feature. It doesn't, so it sucks.
What do you mean?
That's all right.
You can
hyperlapse filming. You can some of them have it like built in and.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of wanted to try out because usually we have like a dash thing for this, and then I just record for like 5 minutes and then I speed it up. With the hyperlapse, I don't think I'll have to do that, but I haven't used it yet, so. So yeah, that is. I'm trying to think if I did anything else.
Shinny in the chat says he hates video games. Well, I guess we'll be looking for a third tonight.
Yeah, well, Shinny's pretty good at video games, I would say. At least
he admitted today, though, that I told him we may have to find someone else to carry us, and he goes, "Well, I don't feel like I've been doing much carrying lately." So
he wasn't very good last week. I'd have to say that. So we'll see. But talking about video games, we will be gaming on Twitch. Ryan redid, or what did you
sure he updated? I just made some changes.
He made some changes to the stream. He's super excited about them, guys. So head on over to twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. And Brian has all this cool new stuff that makes it look like he's a pro streamer. So definitely check that out. We'll be on there in about, I'd say 10 minutes, something like that. But yeah, guys, that is it. As I always say, thanks to everybody who was in the live chats, in the live stream. We always like talking to you guys. And if you want to subscribe to the audio, it's just ThinkComputers, all one word, on your favorite podcasting app or software. So until next week, we'll catch you guys later.